Hello everyone and welcome to another video on Gran Turismo Sport, and today we're at Blue Moon Bay Speedway in Field B in Group 1 cars. Now normally I like Group 1 cars, but this week we're not in the modern hybrid Group 1 cars, which I prefer to drive. We're in the old school Le Mans 70s, 80s, I think 90s even cars, because they're just faster on this type of circuit. So it is a bit of a weird one to have Group 1 cars on. But anyway, this is our qualifying lap, and you can see up ahead the car, the Portuguese driver we've got just ahead of us has hit the wall there, and it's enabled us to close up on him. We haven't had slipstream for the start of this lap. We think we might get it here, but he pulls out, so unfortunately not going to get any slip at the end of the lap either, which will cost us a tenth or two on this qualifying lap with so many long fast sections. We crossed the line with a 39.4, which puts us in 4th place actually, so not too bad. And you can see it was all quite close at the front, and if we'd maybe had a slipstream we could have possibly got a pole position. But anyway, here we are in 4th place then, so we're going to start on the medium tyres in this one, and I think the majority of the cars behind us will probably also be on the medium, but I believe the first couple up ahead will be on the soft, so we're going to have to do our best to try and stay with them through this first part of the race if we can. You can see the car up ahead goes a little bit wide. Now this corner coming up is an absolute nightmare, especially if you see it following close behind someone. It's very hard to see the apex, and we're going to have a look back at some races I had earlier this evening that didn't go so well. So you can see here we're following very closely and we hit the wall on the inside, turning too early, and then in this one we turn in a little bit late, kind of get stuck to the car on the outside there and end up crashing out there as well. So yeah, we're going to try and avoid any of that kind of stuff in this race if we can help it. And you can see there as we come out of the final corner, get a massive kick of oversteer, which gives Treviso P4. But you can go and see one of the races we had earlier on in the day over on Basic Ollie's channel. We were running quite close alongside him for all of the race, so it's quite a good one. There was a little bit of chaos involved as well, but no need for me to post it here because you can go and see it all over there, so do check that out if you get a chance. But back onto this race then, and you can see we've lost a little bit of time to those cars ahead through that first part of the lap, and this kind of just confirms my suspicions that they're probably on the soft tyres at this stage in the race. So we really need to try to stick with them as best we can, as we see the Italian driver there coming out of the final corner to clip the wall, and that means that Treviso has been able to get past him. But we are in the slipstream range, so that's definitely a bonus for us going down the start finish straight. And Treviso goes for a move up the inside of the Belgian there, who runs wide, and that's again going to help us just to close that gap up a little bit to those cars ahead. So this is really playing into our hands. We really want them to battle with each other as much as they can, slow themselves down, wear their tyres out, and also give us an opportunity to close up to them. But unfortunately we're going very deep through that final corner, and Chainsaw has been able to get up the inside. We do get nudged into the wall a little bit, but not lost too much time there, and we are still in the slipstream, so not too much to worry about. And I do believe that all of the cars up ahead at this stage of the race are on those soft tyres, so it should start playing into our hands towards the end of the race when we will have the tyre advantage over them. So you can see up ahead the Italian driver has picked up a 1 second penalty. Now I'm not too sure what that was for. He might have bumped into one of the other cars, or perhaps maybe he had a little bit of contact with the wall or something. But it does mean that hopefully when he serves that penalty on the next lap, we should make up that position, as we see he gets another penalty. So I believe that second penalty was for a bit of contact with the wall coming out of the final corner. So it's all getting very, very tight up ahead, and we can see Chainsaw going for a move up the inside as the Italian one's very wide there. And on the exit, we have quite a good exit actually, but we're going to pull out of that one. We don't want to go into this corner side by side. We've seen in previous races how much of a disaster it can be. So jumping forwards onto the end of lap 7 then, and the three up ahead have built up a little bit of a gap to us, unfortunately, just where they're on those softer tyres, and they just do have a bit more grip at this stage in the race, and therefore have a bit more pace. But as we head around turn 1, the Belgian driver up ahead ends up quite wide, and then on the exit up here we're just able to sneak into his slipstream and start to get a toe down towards the final corner. And it's at this point in the race really that the guys up ahead, their soft tyres will be starting to wear down a little bit, and should give us a more of an opportunity to either stop losing time or maybe even catch them up a little bit. But the Belgian has hit the wall coming out of the final corner here. We're going to give them a bump and see if we can work together to get back onto the cars up ahead. But we're going to jump forwards here and onto the next lap. He hasn't been able to make up any time, so we've decided that we've got quite a good run. We're going to go past him on the straight, get that move done, and see if we can catch up to the drivers ahead ourselves. I think tactically, if we'd stay behind him any longer, he probably would have started holding us up really, rather than helping our race. So had to get past him, and now we will push on towards the two drivers up ahead of Treviso and Chainsaw. Crucially, we nail the final corner there as Treviso just clips the wall on the exit, and that's going to enable us to get back into the slipstream. We can see the split times on the left hand side coming down, and now we're in slipstream range, and that's really crucial for us because it's going to mean that we're able to start to close the back gap. They're battling as well, and Treviso goes for the move on Chainsaw, and again coming around turn 1 you can see the gap closing down. We're now only half a second behind, and jumping forwards onto lap 13 here then, and we can see we have bridged that gap. So we're now a trio of cars, and as we're on lap 13, this is the lap I had intended to pit on, and it's going to possibly give us a decent undercut if any other drivers decide to stay out. But as we come around the final corner then, we're going to see if any of the others decide to pit. It looks like all three of us are, but Chainsaw there decides to change his mind at the last moment and stay out, so trying the alternate strategy. But myself and Treviso did dive into the pits. We've got the new tyres on. I'm on the softs of course now, so should have some decent pace in this race, and at this stage we just need to push as hard as we can, the both of us, to see if we can get an undercut on the other drivers. So at this point, if I start to catch up to Treviso, there's no point in battling him. We don't want to lose any time at all. We just want to work together the best we can and try to gain time on all the other drivers that are yet to pit. As the race leader then does dive into the pits at the end of lap 14. So we haven't done enough to get ahead of him. He's now in 6th place, just off the road, the Portuguese driver. So we're going to need to work together now with Treviso to carry on gaining as much time as possible. But going into turn 1, we can see we get a much better turn in, a lot more grip than he does, and this has kind of told me that he's probably on those medium tyres. So that is very good news for us, because where we're on the softs, going into the final stage of the race, we should have a pace advantage over him. However, we do need to look after the soft tyres as we pitted quite early. So the best course of action at this point is to work with him as much as we possibly can to help his race as well, help him gain time on those medium tyres, and to also look after our softs. So all down the straights, we're going to give him flash of headlights, and we're just going to bump him all the way down, gaining time on the straight on the cars up ahead. And we can see there a Spaniard who's yet to pit, who are gaining on very quickly indeed, and hopefully he's not going to help hold us up too much in this race going into the last couple of laps. But going down into the final corner then, Treviso, oh no, yeah, you've got to be pretty crazy to go for a move there, to be honest. We can see that the Spaniard gets a poor exit actually, but very good sportsmanship. He knows he's not part of our race and he lets us go. As Chainsaw then hits from the lead of the race, who was also, he was in that trio with me and Treviso ourselves just before the round of pit stops, and we have indeed made the undercut work. So it looks like we're going to be in a battle for first, second and third then, and jumping forwards after a couple of laps, starting lap 21, you can see we've worked really well together. We have caught up with the Portuguese driver. We're going to go for this move up the inside, and we just about get it done, give him a nice amount of room on the exit, don't want to force him into the wall, and we get that move done. So now we're up to 2nd place. Really don't want to be batting for the lead just yet. There's 7 or so laps to go, so still a fair amount of time left in this race, and you know, we still need to look after our tyres to make sure they last until the end, and we want to work together with Treviso because we want this to be a two-way battle for the lead of the race over the last couple of laps. rather than a battle with 4 or 5 cars. So again, on the straights, we're just going to try and work with him if we can. We'll give him a little bump here, and going into turn 1 then, he gets a little bit of a wobble on the sort of the turning point with the change of the gradient of the road. We annoyingly get alongside him, but we're going to lift off the power, get out of that. We really don't want to start challenging just yet. But this enables the other Brit in the Porsche to get up our inside, but on the outside for the final corner. We just about managed to cover it off without clipping the inside wall there, as Treviso clips the wall on the exit of the corner, and luckily we get away with that one and manage to survive and keep our P2. Closing up to the back of Treviso into turn 1, not really close enough to give him bump draft, and you definitely don't want to be doing that going into the braking zone. As we see in the mirrors, the Porsche getting very close to us through the exit of turn 1. The Porsche very, very good in the corners, but not so good in a straight line, so it's not going to really be too much of a threat on the straight, especially if we've got the slipstream from Treviso ourselves. We don't get the best exit there, but crucially we managed to avoid the wall. But the Porsche behind actually clips the wall, so that's given us a little bit of breathing room here, and we just need to get our heads down, close that little small gap that's come out to Treviso up ahead as we start lap 27 then, and we have indeed got back onto the rear bumper of Treviso, and it's at this stage in the race we've now built a gap to third place behind, so it's at this point that we can start battling for first place. And it shouldn't lose us too much time to any of the other cars behind. So heading down into the final corner of the race on lap number 27 then, and Treviso clips the wall on the outside, so this is going to give us a decent run on him by the end of the start finish straight. And we can see here we're closing in on him, and as we change gear into 5th gear then we get a big jump forwards, as I think maybe he shifted a little bit too late, and we get the move done on the straight, so absolutely no drama there whatsoever, and we move into the lead of the race. But it's not over yet, there's still a lap and a half to go, and if you did watch Basic Ollie's video he posted the other night, then you will see that I messed up the final corner of that race and lost the position to him. So we need to make sure we don't make the same mistake here, but we actually get a perfect exit out of the final corner. And I think that's probably the best I've done that corner all race. And we move to the left hand side just to try and avoid giving Treviso the slip for as long as possible to begin the final lap of the race then. Heading down around the final corner on the last lap of the race. We don't want to try anything dramatic. We keep it in 2nd gear and just play it nice and safe. We've got enough time to drive straight to the line then, as we head on to the start finish straight, and we're going to cross the line and take victory in the Nations Cup. And I think that's my first FIA win for a good 6 months or so, I think. So I'm very, very pleased with that, and it just shows you how important it can be to work with someone else in a race like this. And it's just shown that, you know, 2 drivers working together, and we've been able to finish 1st and 2nd. So big thanks to Treviso for that one. Really enjoyed that race. Like I said earlier, if you want to check out Basic Ollie's channel, he posted a race that we were in earlier in the day. We were also in another race where we were chasing down Super GT at the end, so that may be up on Super GT's channel in a couple of days, so go and check that out if it is. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you haven't already subscribed, then please feel free to do so, and I will see you again soon.